So during my little hiatus where I wasn't, making videos and whatnot, I was still, consuming crypto content. And I was actually on a podcast where they were talking about crypto. So this is from Pocket Watching with JT. Mr. Jason Thornton is a CFP, and this other individual here is What Happened to Common Sense. He's also a YouTuber, and he talks about crypto similar to me. I think he's a little bit more advanced though. He's been talking about crypto for a little bit longer than myself. So they were having a discussion regarding, the crypto market crash that we're currently in still. And one of the things they did is they opened up the phone lines for individuals to call in, just to, talk about certain things. And, I called in and I just want to, get their opinion on, certain things with crypto. So what we're going to do like today, I thought this would be, kind of fun, is we're going to, listen to the portion where I was on this podcast, okay, or this show or whatever have you, listen to my question. Then I'm going to stop it and, just, expound upon it. Then we're going to listen to their answers. So they both answered, Mr. Jason Thornton and What Happened to Common Sense. Now, What Happened to Common Sense, his name is Eli. He actually has, a more profound answer because, he's been in crypto for a little bit of time. And, Jason Thornton, he even admits that, he hasn't, really focused on crypto, or, he's not, fully aware of all the ins and outs of crypto. But they both had an opinion on, my question. So we're going to, listen to that as well. Okay, so let's get right into it.
I'll give you a second to
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. There you go. There you go. What you got for Eli? Because hopefully the question's for Eli.
Yes. This is a question for Eli. My name is Stonk Insights. I'm a YouTuber. I talk about stock and crypto. So yeah, this is a quick, concise question. This is regarding the difference between proof of work and proof of stake. So, I mean, if you ask the Gavin Newsoms, the Vitalik Buterins, the Charles Hoskins, they're gonna all tell you that, proof of work is evil and proof of stake is like the solution. It's the answer. I want to know, how do you think about, how do you feel about that? Like, do you think that proof of work is garbage, that we only need proof of stake? Do you think they can coexist? Or do you think ultimately, like I think, that proof of work is going to win out in the end?
Okay.
All right. So you heard my, my question. Okay. So, I brung up Gavin Newsom, the creator of Polkadot, brung up Vitalik Buterin. Okay. One of the co-creators of the original Ethereum, which is Ethereum Classic, which was forked into Ethereum that's right now. Okay. I want everyone, to know that as well, or the Ethereum Classic is the original Ethereum and it was forked. And then, that's what Ethereum is right now. So, Vitalik Buterin, Charles Hoskinson, the guy behind Cardano, so I brought up all three of these individuals specifically because, they're considered titans, in the crypto community. Okay. They, in a combination of them, wrote the first Solidity code for the original Ethereum, which is a big deal, having smart contracts. So this was something that was distinctly different from Bitcoin at the time. Okay. But they did it in a way that still called for proof of work when they made, the original Ethereum. So now all three of the individuals across the board, they're all building, separate projects, but the similarities between the projects is they're all building with a proof of stake consensus mechanism or something similar around the proof of stake consensus mechanism, entirely abandoning proof of work. Okay. And, when you hear them talk, they have the air of, they're doing something that's great for the community or, for the ecosystem. They're not polluting the world. They're not using up a ton of, energy. Okay. And, that's one thing. And that was one criticism about this discussion here. After a person asks a question, they didn't have the ability to actually discuss back and forth with, Eli or, Mr. Thornton here. They had to hang up and I had to watch, the answer. But one thing, that I didn't bring up is how, the energy usage for proof of work, it's necessary. That's what keeps it decentralized. And to be frank, and well, Eli is going to bring this up, so I'm not going to bring up that point, but, just basically, I was asking them, what did they think the difference between proof of work and proof of stake? Did they think that one was better than the other one? Or did they think that, they could coexist? Or did they think that one needs to be out so the other one could shine? Okay. So after asking that question, let's just see what their answers were.
I'm gonna let you go so you can hear his answer. And Eli, please, while you answer that, explain to me what the hell those two things are.
Yes. So proof of work basically is where you are using your GPU and ASIC miner. Is definitely is the process to basically doing a brute force. So you're trying to guess and check and find a number, basically using a lot of energy, right? Mm-hmm. That's basically is labor intensive when you're doing that. You're trying to basically prove that you've done the necessary work and that this block is valid. That's proof of work. Proof of stake is when you're basically buying up a certain amount of the token and locking it up in the protocol so that you can be a validator on the particular protocol, in the protocol. So for Ethereum, you need 32 Ethereum in order for you to be a validator within their network. That's proof of stake. You're staking your tokens, you're locking your tokens up inside of the protocol to be a validator. Now, for people who don't like proof of work, what they say is that it's bad for the environment, that proof of work basically is harming the environment. Now, there are some studies that prove that this is true. There's other studies that prove that it isn't, right? That's something that's up in the air.
And he's correct about that. Some people say that, oh yeah, it's completely bad against, on the environment, and some people say that, it has, a negligent impact on the environment. Now, I do believe that it's been proven that, it doesn't have, a negligent impact on the environment, but not more so than, other industries, in the world, and that is 100% fact. But, obviously it does use, energy, but like all other facets, we're not talking about, even if we go all electric, we still will be using energy to even get to that point. Okay. That's something that a lot of people don't think about, talking about going green. It costs a lot of money to get green. Okay. And it's a lot of this labor intensive, it's energy intensive to even go green. Okay.
Because you have to look at the fact that the banking institutions use a lot of electricity. Think about all of the lights that goes into having a banking institution on, the people that have to commute to work, the amount of gas that they have to burn, making the cars, right? Like there's a lot that goes into a bank in a traditional financial system, right?
And did you see all those little things that he's talking about, even regarding the banking system? This stuff that people don't even think about. Even the fact of you getting into the car to drive to work, that is a whole lot of energy usage in itself. Okay, someone's got to make the car. You got to fill it up with gas. It takes time. You're polluting ozone. Whatever fumes or whatnot that's being expounded when you're traveling back and forth from work. Okay. So just that little, aspect, not even talking about getting to work, lights being on, using certain things or whatnot, that requires electricity, that requires power. This is way more, intensive than, some people mining in their basement.
So this notion that somehow Bitcoin wastes energy, again, that's a debate that many people are having, right? Mm-hmm. So with proof of stake, obviously, right now, if you look at the price of Ethereum, I'm looking at Ethereum right now. Ethereum is trading at $2,000, right? Mm-hmm. So if you were to, let's go here and put this in the calculator. If you needed 32 ETH times $2,000, that's basically $64,000 that you need in order to be a validator. And you need more than that. You probably need about like 35, 36 as fees are high.
You got to buy your way in.
To buy your way in, right? So that creates a problem where people feel that it allows people to rent seek, where basically it's not accessible to the average person. Only the real rich and wealthy will be able to, have consensus and have say within the particular protocol, right? So again, I'm a firm believer in that proof of stake has not been proven yet. It hasn't been battle tested yet.
And this is the crux of the argument. Okay, it hasn't proof of stake has not been battle tested yet. Not like proof of work has. Proof of work has went through many a bear market and has survived. We see where Bitcoin was before, even when you and me noticed it, it was probably already, past $100, a couple $1,000, So even before, we noticed it, it's even risen since that point. Okay. So it survived many a bear market, like I, stated, and it's still here.
I'm not saying that it's better or worse. I believe that it's something that, see, one thing that we have to begin to understand with a lot of this stuff in crypto is that the technology may not be new, right? But the implications of the technology is, right, in regards to how it's being used in conjunction, right? Because blockchain technology, cryptography, all of this stuff is back from the late 70s, early 80s. Like this, so it's not like this is new technology. Right. Satoshi just simply blended together existing technology. Proof of stake is something that we have to actually see implemented on a large scale and being used on a large scale. We know that proof of work works.
And that's it. We know that proof of work works. We don't know that proof of stake works. We're not seeing whole countries adopt proof of stake mechanisms and, abandoning their fiat currency, in the same sense that they're doing with Bitcoin, or even showing, expressing that they want to even do that. Okay. They're doing that with Bitcoin, and they're using new and innovative ways to mine Bitcoin without using any energy.
It's been working now for what, 13 years? We know that for a fact. We don't know that about proof of stake, right? It's something that has to play itself out. And one thing about people like Charles and Vitalik and many of these other people is they're very good at selling you on all of the evils of Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, proof of stake has not had a long enough track record. Ethereum 2 is not here yet, right? So we can't say what proof of stake is going to be able to do and how it's better until it actually can prove itself that it's better. Right. Like when we look at Cardano, when we look at Ethereum, they're not, nowhere have they been battle tested as much as Bitcoin has been in regards to, having a whole country literally ban Bitcoin mining and things of that nature. So
and you see that Bitcoin has went through trials, tribulations, turmoils, and still survived. It's still here, and that's a fact. It's been shown over and over with, the China FUD, the crypto regulations, rules and whatnot, banning of mining. And you see that even with that happening, there's no force behind Bitcoin besides, the decentralized force to what it is.
So as of right now, I believe that proof of work is the superior form in regard to reaching consensus over proof of stake.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just the fact that you limit the ability of people to enter in, and because these are the people who are basically mining, right? They're making sure that you're validating the code. And to me, I don't want a restriction on people who are willing and they have the energy and they have the ability to validate the code, but they don't have the money to get into that point. So to me, that's what it's a turn off to me just based on that.
And that's a very nuanced and a great point, from Mr. Jason Thornton. Okay, there is a dollar amount to get into proof of stake. Okay, when you want to become a validator, anyone can put their fiat behind proof of stake, and I guess try to help secure the network. But to become a validator, you have to have large amounts of capital to do so. Okay, and what he's bringing up is that to be a Bitcoin validator, that's not the case. Okay, to be a Bitcoin miner, that's not the case. You just got to have a computer, and you got to join a mining pool, and you got to set it up. You got to set up a wallet, and that's just about it. And you will be starting to mine blocks. I'll bet probably not very fast, probably not very efficient, but you can help towards the whole decentralized network. With proof of stake, that's not the case. You got to have currency, and a large amount of currency, which makes it, a centralized force.
And then what people begin to start to say is, then what's stopping, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, large wealthy institutions from basically just simply buying up a bunch of the validator nodes in your network, right? Because you got to think about it. One person could effectively be 1 million nodes.
This is such a great point as well. Okay, what is stopping, the JP Morgans from buying up a huge stake in Ethereum as if they haven't already. Okay, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but as if these huge banks don't have, you know, a huge stakehold within Ethereum, the JP Morgans, the US banks, the Banks of Americas, you know, these huge Wells Fargos, these huge corporations or banks that want a piece of this crypto pie where they can just buy into it. Okay, and Ethereum gives them that ability just to buy into it.
Right? Like, think about it. All you need is 32 ETH. So let's say 40 ETH. Well, what's stopping, you know, a very, very rich person from buying up large amounts of your cryptocurrency and running multiple validator nodes, right? Because one person could be 40% of your network. And we've seen that happen in some of these other protocols where they have 25 validators or 50 validators, and the whole 50 validators is really just the foundation itself, right? So it becomes kind of something that has to prove itself over time. And I believe that one thing that we have to understand, Bitcoin's going to be the king. I truly believe that. But when it comes to a lot of these other cryptocurrencies, especially the other layer ones, such as Avalanche, Polkadot, Harmony, Ethereum, you know, they're all, at the end of the day, they're science projects. They're trying to abstract on what Bitcoin has already proven. They're trying to be a little bit better and more unique than Bitcoin.
And I mean, this is a true point, but what he didn't mention about all those other cryptocurrencies that he just mentioned, with the exception of Ethereum, but which is turning to Ethereum 2.0, is all those other cryptocurrencies are proof of stake. They're not proof of work. So the one caveat I would say to the point he just made is that Ethereum Classic, the original Ethereum, it is superior to Bitcoin in the sense that it is a copy of Bitcoin with smart contracts built into it at the layer 1 level. So unlike Bitcoin, because, you know, the argument is, oh well, Bitcoin has the Lightning Network, but the Lightning Network is not on the layer 1 level. The Lightning Network is on the layer 2. Ethereum Classic has both store value and smart contracts at the layer 1 level. So that is, you know, a distinct difference, and the reason why myself and others believe that Ethereum Classic is the superior cryptocurrency.
By introducing smart contracts. Right. So when we sit here and we say this to ourselves, we don't know what Ethereum 2.0 is going to be. What if it has codes? What if it has bugs? What if it doesn't perform the way that it performs, right? And then what if there's some other cryptocurrency right now that hasn't been developed yet that can come up and steal the show? So I believe that the best thing to do when it comes to these layer ones, and a layer one is just simply a smart contract platform that you put applications on, right? So right here, think about, like, you have a phone and you have applications on the phone.
On the phone, right.
Right? And you have an Android phone, and then you have an iPhone, right? So when you look at Ethereum just a base layer that you could build decentralized applications on top of.
On top of it, okay.
But you could do the same thing with Avalanche. You could do the same thing with Solana. And some of these blockchains are much more faster. Their fees are much cheaper, but they may be more centralized in regards to validators and how they validate the transactions. Because remember, the whole concept is to be decentralized, right? Well, if there's only 30 people validating transactions, are you really decentralized?
I mean, that's another true fact as well. Okay, when you have to buy your way into becoming a validator, it just makes it to where only a few people are going to be able to do so. And what does that create? That creates a centralized environment, which is the antithesis of cryptocurrencies. It's the opposite. Cryptocurrencies want to be decentralized.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like that's the point. It's like we're moving away from what this was supposed to be about,
and that becomes the problem with a lot of these other blockchains. And it's called the blockchain trilemma, right? Where you have decentralization, security, and scalability, right? So what happens is that,
and shout out to Donald McIntyre, it's actually not a trilemma, it's a dilemma. Okay, if you have decentralization, you inherently have security. You can't have one without the other. You can't have a decentralized environment and be unsecure. Decentralization is security. Centralization is unsecure. So that's why it is a dilemma, because if you're decentralized, you are in fact secure.
In order for you to really be the cream of the crop, you have to have all three. But the problem is, if you have all three, then you may not be as fast. Like, so some blockchains, they may cut the corner on decentralization, but they'll be much more scalable, much faster, but they have less security. Gotcha. So,
there's always trade-offs.
there's always trade-offs, there's pros versus cons. So, you know, the short answer to this individual's question is, I agree. I believe that Bitcoin in the end will win out, but it's still interesting to see some of these other technologies and what they're trying to do and how they're going to go about, you know, proof of stake.
Gotcha.
And that's, you know, the excerpt right there. And you see, you know, he came around and, you know, stated that, you know, he agrees that proof of work in its current form is a superior consensus mechanism, and that proof of stake in its current form is, you know, more or less a science project that needs to be proven before it can be stated that it is superior in any way, shape, or form to proof of work. In my opinion, for some of the reasons why he stated, I do not believe that proof of stake can be superior to proof of work. You know, one being the decentralization aspect of it. If you have a certain amount of validators, if you have it to where you have to buy in and use a large amount of capital to become a validator, you know, it's not really fair for, you know, everyone in, you know, the crypto space. And decentralization in crypto is different than, you know, the centralized, you know, world where, you know, it doesn't matter if it's fair or not. You know, in a centralized world, if you have $1 billion, then you have, you know, you are the king, you know, you are the, you know, the ruler. In a decentralized world, you know, everyone has a piece of the pie. Anyone can become a validator. Anyone can validate a transaction with proof of work, which is not the same with proof of stake. But what do you guys think? You know, leave, you know, your comments down below. Let me know what you think about, you know, this discussion right here. I'm gonna, if you look at the title here, they're both added. So, you know, if you want to check out both their channels, I strongly encourage you to. You know, I watch a lot of Pocket Watching with JT. I think he has an amazing channel. I just started watching What Happened to Common Sense, you know, and I think he has an interesting and awesome perspective on, you know, cryptocurrencies in general. But whatever your thoughts, leave them in the comments down below. Thank you guys again, and I'll catch you in the next one.